So good morning everyone, welcome to Satsang. Let's make some silence first. It doesn't matter. Whatever matters, matters to that which doesn't matter. Let it die, let it burn, let it fall to the ground. Don't pick up the pieces. Let everything collapse into silence, to unimportant silence. Okay, so good morning everyone again. Just reminding you that we use WhatsApp as a means of communication. If you want to send your questions, you can send it through the number that appears on the comments. You can send also in the comments, but WhatsApp it's better because it is more private and conversation can flow a little bit better. Because I don't have access to the comments, so they have to send it to me. Good morning, my friend. I will answer your question now. Extramarital relationship. This is a big and important point in this time. My dear great spiritual friend, tell me about this point. We should make or know. Our Ved Puran, spiritual books, what says about this point? Well, not going to speak about what spiritual books say about it. Just saying that a seeker of truth must be very practical and honest with himself to see what he is entertaining, what's the meaning of it, of what he is entertaining. If whatever is there, is it helping your spiritual path or is it making it more difficult? These are the points which are more important. And peace is also important at some point, some kind. It's impossible to get peace altogether. That is the ultimate goal, not peace in terms of lack of war or turmoil, but that ultimate peace. But in practical terms, the quest of the seeker of truth is letting go of himself, of his mistaken self. And that mistaken self feeds on a lot of things that support, nurture his own story through time, gives it purpose, meaning, importance. One of the big points in the quest for truth is letting go of the luggage of sadness, because that is the mother of a lot of, how do you say this, habit patterns. These habit patterns that we can say molds the personality. They are in automatic because they have been fed, they are nurturing, and story is going on in an automatic way. But this needs to be removed from automatic. And these sources of apparent pleasure, they need to be cut so that sadness may rise and be removed. In the quest for truth, one relationship is difficult enough, demanding enough. Two, well, or three or four, whatever. I think we can multiply that. I'm not going to go into other questions which everybody knows already. But the quest for truth is something that or it is complete or it isn't. And if it is complete, it's still not a guarantee how long it will take, because this depends on a lot of things. So the less confusion you have, the better. think this is the central point about this question. Moving on. I will answer your question now. Okay, I'm in a moment in which I can make some material arrangements for the people that depend on me to be able to relieve myself in some form for the spiritual practices. I feel each time more a seeker of truth, and I want more and more to know who I am, because it is unbearable to live in delusion. My ego is, however, strong and smart. It's difficult to face it alone because it confuses me all the time. The material arrangements that I thought making are completely different from those I would make in the times where my character would rule. But my ego creates new narratives, and in 1 minute I don't know which arrangements are or not from the matter from ego, more or less. I have begged every day for God's help and for guidance. Which posture of devotion in that case should I follow, with the adjustments, with the material adjustments I've seen, or should I wait guidance that comes rescue me? Well, first of all, no one depends on you. It just appears to be. But okay, let's forget that. It's difficult to have a clear vision all the time. And without guidance, it's even more difficult. But you still have your common sense and your intelligence. And of course, it will work against you in proportions that you may not be aware. And it will work for you in the proportions that you are aware. And this is not either or. They go together more or less. But without guidance, you should do the best with what you have. So if you're following this vision, okay, so I'll make some material arrangements so that I can dedicate more time to my spiritual practices. Good. This is good. Of course, there's many other things that I point in the last question. And that is, what is your life? What is the purpose of your life? And the dedication, complete dedication to that purpose of your life. These arrangements, they are for this moment only. And if you try to cross the river in 2 canoes, well, you go for a swim. But in the short run, this is good. Making these arrangements, making it possible to deepen your practices, to intensify more and more your practices. But this depends, how are you doing it? Because are we talking in mild terms or intense terms? Because you can make some arrangements so that you can dedicate 1 more hour, 2 more hours meditation a day. Or you can be making certain arrangements that you can dedicate for the next months, for example, completely. So this depends on the arrangements, because one creates the space for something else, for the direction to come, because it's not just about guidance coming, it's, are you able to go? Will you be able to follow guidance if it comes? The other one, the mild arrangement, it's just how do you say this, an adaptation. You're just, not sure if this word exists like this, you're just adapting your life, and probably it will not make much of a difference in this way. It is making a difference because your heart wants it very much. It is awakening for the quest for truth. This is undeniable. And this is the biggest force. Your arrangements, they are small compared to this, but they are good nonetheless. So, but if it's a mild arrangement, it's like still trying to cross the river in two canoes, because there is adapting. If it is something that creates a space, a real space, it's like, okay, so I want to cross, I will not cross in two canoes, I want to cross in that one, which I know it is the best one, but not sure to be able to do it. So I'll sit and meditate and get the strength to know, or even to know which canoe is the right one. So this is different. Because, well, intentions are always the best, but clarity is something very difficult to achieve, very difficult, and very easy to lose, even after achieving it. It's momentary, because the character is full of resistances. He can see easily that which still can fit in his world, that which is maybe difficult, but if it can still fit. That which doesn't fit, it doesn't allow the vision. So this is one of the reasons that guidance is so important. Or else you're conditioned to walk in your pace and not knowing where you're walking to. Because usually it's just circles, going around and around and around. Being aware of the difficulty of how clever and sophisticated the character is, you are, for now. It is important because it gives you a notion of the difficulty of it. And the more you can see this is good. In some way, you are going against it, or else you wouldn't be able to see it. Majority of seekers, they are more or less moving with it in the quest for truth, because it is a material gain also, or in that case only, and it is making plans into that direction, but that fit the narrative. Only when you start going against what you call yourself, cutting the foods, cutting the sources of pleasure, you will see something rebelling. This is the character. And as you start countering it again and again and again and again, you will see its strategies, you will see how sophisticated it is, you will see how big of a challenge it is. Without countering it, you won't see anything. And this vision is important. But whatever you do with the best of intentions will bring some kind of a fruit, always. Even if it's just frustration, also a great teacher. But if this is your vision now, do it. I've explained the two possibilities. Now you see. If you want to complement something here to make it better, well, I will answer your question now. Hello, hello. There is a turmoil boiling within me. Whenever I find myself in a situation that I'm expected to suppress my voice, can't speak or something, it drives me crazy. cannot tell enough how I boil within. Whenever I suppress and don't speak, if I did not, to not done it over, if I didn't, to not do it would overwhelm me. Maybe, I'm not sure. Whenever I speak up, I always feel like such powers come through me, as if higher power speaks and give real slap and cut the untrue. But why I always have to be the one who goes crazy, burp on behalf of people and slap the untrue? It's tiring sometimes. Well, it's tiring because it's pointless. The context is not very clear, so if you want to make it clear, it would help. But usually, these kinds of situations, they are pointless. Everything is pointless. Almost everything is pointless. The point is to keep you distracted. If you're into these outer wars, fighting for others and whatever, well, that is nice, but as a seeker of truth, this is distraction. There's a much important and tougher war to be dealt with, which is inside. And these things come as a distraction. All of these things come as a distraction. There's this idea that I'm a seeker of truth and I have my quest and I have my life, the other life. This is not correct. If you're a seeker of truth, that is your life. And everything else becomes secondary until awakening. Because that is the purpose of your life. And yes, everybody has responsibilities, but this is the highest. And if other responsibilities are not conflicting with this one, okay? As soon as they conflict, out of the way. Either this or just same old, same old. And believe me, the world takes care of itself. And if by any chance you stop raising your voice to defend these people, whatever it is the situation, someone else will pick up that flag. A warrior is nothing without a war. There are many warriors out there that apparently they are warriors of good and to defending the weak and all of that. But if you take the oppression out of the weak, majority becomes restless because they don't have a war to fight. So it's not specifically that war. And even the wars that you embrace, they speak more about yourself than anything else, about your own war, about your inner war that you're trying to fight outside. So the seeker of truth is the one that fights the war at the source of it. Not in circumstances, not in the world, but in his own intimate space of perception, at the source of its illusion. Everything else is just a waste of time. The world will continue more or less the same. Even changing remains the same. Bad guys, good guys, it's just a point of view. And the world continues to move around. And time is passing, tick-tock, tick-tock, tick-tock. And how are you using it? That is the most important thing. Perhaps you're fighting the wrong war. If not, well, that's not with me also. And this boiling from within in these situations, again, this speaks much more about yourself than about the rest, and is pointing into a direction which is more important. As you fixed one injustice in the world, 3 more come up. Not saying that's not important, but everybody has to do what they have to do. A seeker of truth is in the quest of truth only, the ultimate truth, not relative truths, ultimate, because relative truths, who knows what's right or wrong? You can just assume, believe, but knowing, that is too much. Okay, if you have any more questions about this, well, feel free. Okay, getting back to our friend here. I want to leave the job so I can dedicate exclusive to the spiritual life, but I want to leave an amount for my children. I could still support for 5 months, waiting for guidance, exclusive dedicated spiritual life. It involves complications of financial life, but they would be comfortable for some time. It's always difficult, this part, isn't it? It's always difficult. Yet, your path is your path, and it's the one who makes the calls. And there's no such thing as a spiritual life without some sort of sacrifice. It is like this. A seeker of truth is the one who trusts, dedicates, fully surrenders, and lets the divine to take care. And it is when things get rough that we see which ones pick up the shovel and start taking care of their lives and which ones don't. And just deal with the fear and try as much to surrender. It's always complicated because character is complicated, made of complications. So in this part where you stand, you need, as you don't have the clarity, so you need to guide yourself for the highest. The highest values in your life, is it quest for truth or is it something else? Whatever you embrace, this is what you're affirming as that which is more important. Because words and thoughts, they are nice, but it is what you embrace that is clear-cut indication. It is your affirmation to the universe. My dear, I will answer your question now. Dear Sriman, the weeks are organized around satsang and practices. One evening, I was going to bed, there was a dead stop. I was not at the threshold of the door of awakening. No, before this one, I saw that there was the door of illusions. If I walk through this door, my name will be no longer ... I saw that everything is conditioned, reactions, education, culture, references. Yes, all I care about is nothing, nothing really. I'm nothing, nothing. The nothing, the second one is from me. Okay. Nothing reliable, just a packet version. It takes more than the will to pass through this door. The body is on the verge of explosion when it is there. Oh yes, for sure. The body and the head. Are there really 2 doors to go through? Yes. Those of illusions and that of liberation. I try to be as close as possible to what I'm going through, perhaps naively but sincerely. Yes, it's going fine. These are the clear indications. The vision that you're having, the experiences that you're having, they are giving you a feedback that yes, it is to that direction. And yes, we can call it two doors. Of course, these are just visions, interpretations of deeper things. But this, as you say, my name would not be your what? So this first door, it is the door of the life of the character. So you had your life that you built till now, and the first door is to get out from this life. And this is very difficult because the character depends on this life. So as it gets closer from that door, chaos emerges. It seems like almost like you're going to explode, be vaporized, whatever. It's breathtaking, it's too much. It is like this. And this is, in a sense, this is, whatever, kind of initiation where a seeker lets go of his world, of his family, everybody, and just walks towards the path of awakening, gets initiated, gets a new name and a new life in a context that is completely off its own context, so that this past, so that the life of this character is sources of food, everything gets cut. So this is the first door. And yes, in some form or another, it has to be crossed. And there is many ways to cross this, because that door is not just one door. It may have many doors. Because continuing the story, the same story where things were left behind, and in this new context, you will try not to, but it will be unavoidable. The character will try to get back his sources of food to sustain his delusion in these new circumstances. So eventually, this door, these are, how do you say this, circumstantial doors, peripheric doors, and as you cross them, you will come closer and closer to the real door, which is very close to the core of this character. Because each time you change a circumstance, you are affecting the layers of the character. And as you remove them again and again and again and again, you will get closer and closer to the core. And this is where things really start. But yes, two doors. So the vision is correct. Everything is going in the right direction. The steps are showing themselves in front of you. Well, you know what to do. Okay, so Namaste Guruji. From past 1 year I have been getting dreams that at the age of 50 I will experience self-realization. And I hear some voices of unknown people. They tell me to chant God's name in various spiritual instructions they give in dream. I see clear visions of Lord Krishna, Ma Kali, Hanumanji in dream. What is going on? I'm unable to understand. I saw a ball of fire in dream in which galaxies were there and different gods' faces were flashing, and someone said, he is Ek Brahm. So my big question is, you're getting these dreams from 1 year, and what have you been doing with it? Because if you believe them to be some kind of a guidance to you, if you believe that by the age of 50 you will experience self-realization, well, that means that you're doing something with this. You're applying yourself intensely to the spiritual path with spiritual practices, intense meditation. If you're not, it's just dreams. Just dreams. No significance whatsoever. If you're applying yourself, giving all your time to this, being assured by these dreams that it is real, then it will be. So what you'll do with it, that's what makes the difference. Okay, continuing here. It's better when you put more details because, well, I can answer better. It's not about seeing any injustice outside or do something to change, but more like, I grow in a way I was not even able to say no, even to speak naturally, but I was so quiet. Even little things I was not able to speak, but it was not my choice. It was because of fear or whatever reason it was. Whenever this mouth has to speak up for myself or in general, I still awaken this struggle in me. Especially when what I say is in conflict with another's ideas. Their ego or pride can be crushed and they become very harsh to me, not love me, etc. Yes, that is the problem. As I wrote, I realized this entanglement. It may not seem so important, but it was such an entanglement within which I continuously face. Yes, this is very common, in fact. And, well, you have to go through this, of course, because it is conditioning. And this has a lot to do with truth and to stand by truth. Even if it is just your truth, it is very important. And your biggest conditioning is the dependency on the love of others in general, of all others. And the struggle you face is the fear of losing that love. Love, acceptance, validation. Acceptance is even the best word because it is in the opposite of rejection. So many people face this because they have grown in a way that they had to adapt to others to get their validation, to be accepted. But to do this, they have to reject themselves. So it is the same cycle of rejection. It's more clear because when you're rejecting yourself directly, it's more clear in a sense. Because when you think others are rejecting you, they are not, they are just disagreeing. Or even if they are rejecting you, it's about them, not about you. Just because you don't want someone or something, it doesn't mean that it is bad. It means that you don't want it. Or something which is bad for you, it doesn't mean it is bad for the other person. It can be the best thing. So these things, insecurity, dependency, these dependencies on acceptance of others, this is a big entanglement. But all these things, it is a good exercise to do what you were doing, step up, rising above that. It's important to do that because that is a first liberation, because it enables you to face the fears that are underlying to that. But understand that it will come naturally in a way because life experience will bring you this. If you intensify your spiritual practices, these things will solve themselves. They will dissolve. If your spiritual practices are for awakening, These are secondary matters that will solve, and opportunities will come for you to deal with them in the way that it is better. Because if, in a way, this is a problem because it is a problem in the relationships themselves, then it doesn't make a difference. So everything in the right context. When you're with the ultimate goal in mind, you will see these difficulties that, in terms of interactions, as the conditionings that they are, as the doors of investments, of wrong investments. So the thing is, okay, affirming yourself, your truth is important, but more important is to cut the investments towards dependency. It's removing yourself from this dependency of others accepting you. That is much more important. And you see, that which impels you to invest in whatever direction it is, apart from liberation, those are the roads of distraction. It's just to keep you entertained. And as you are investing into the direction of acceptance, recognition, you're still distracted. Very, very distracted. But it's important to stand up also, because sometimes people, they take the wisdom which better suits their illusion. And that's not right. It's not that it's not right. It's not practical. It doesn't help, because it keeps you deluded and distracted. So sometimes, for example, in your situation, if you would say, okay, so he's saying this, I feel the conflict, the turmoil, but I'm on the quest for truth, I will not speak anything. If this is coming because of the weakness of standing up, that's not the best one. The best one is to rise above that weakness. But once you have rised above that weakness, the only thing you can do is to perfect interaction. That's it. You already stood up to your fear. Now you can go to that which is the highest. And that is to abstract yourself from those dependencies. Stop seeking these validations, others' support, the importance that you have towards others. If this is their strong, surely there are many, 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 many investments in this direction. And this doesn't condition only your speech, it conditions your whole time, because you will need a lot of people around you to love you, to accept you, and all your investments will be in this direction. So removing yourself from this seclusion, this will be by far the highest. So these dreams are regular, okay? And your intense practice, is it regular also? Tem mais coisa aí? Okay, so it will send me the rest. This is why WhatsApp it's better, and say because you can send it directly, so we can have almost like a conversation. Well, in the middle in Satsang, I cannot write you what I've said, but during the week they will translate it, and it will have also Hindi subtitles, and you can understand better. Let's hope that the subtitles are good. I was worshipping God as we Indian do every day. Yes. I used to sing bhajans with full devotions. That's all I was doing. Lord Krishna comes in dream almost every day, and he says, I like your clean heart and you have a big purpose of life. And that is serving weak part of society, poor and needy people. Only by bhakti we can get self-realization, or meditation is must. They are not different in reality, but for the times that we are going through, meditation is a must. With that attitude of bhakti, but intense meditation has to be there to purify the emotions, or else, because bhakti is very rare, very rare. The practice of it, yes, but there's so many sideways into that it is complicated. So both has to be there, and intensely. I will not make any comments on what you said, what your dreams are telling you. What I'm going to say is, you have been doing all of this, and by your words, this is, well, it is common in India, so that it doesn't make it something very different. So either you practice meditation intensely, coupling with bhakti, or it's just a dream. Whatever it, no point even commenting. Not for one side, not for the other. But if you practice intense meditation, make your life, make it the center of your life, coupled with bhakti, saying both together, then you'll see, then it is meaningful. Or else, meaningless. Doesn't matter if you're dreaming with Krishna or Spider-Man. If you're not putting your life into it, because spiritual guidance, in whatever form it comes, this is what is directing, is pointing you to that direction, but you have to walk the path, or else it's nothing. Sometimes dreams, they say more or less, they describe the circumstances. Sometimes they don't. They are just setting you in a direction, and then you'll discover as you move. But moving is the important part, not anything else. Many seekers have dreams, spiritual experiences, different kinds. Some just stay like in, how do you say this in English? Mesmerized by this, feeling important with this, going around and telling this one, that one, just for the sake of feeling special. But they don't do anything practical with it. They don't dedicate their lives. They don't see it as guidance, okay? So I have to follow this path completely, intensely. And this is wasted. Others pick up these guidances and they surrender themselves to it, apply constantly, and see where it's taking them. So if you're having these dreams for so long, well, probably you're not doing anything with it, or not much. Probably. But yes, in these times, meditation is the opportunity of making it alive. Hmm? Well, but I cannot do that now. You will get the the subtitle version next week. Then you will see. If you have any the other doubts, you can send. Okay. They are so regular that made me think in this way. This life is precious and we should not waste. That's what I have concluded. Okay, so you've concluded. Now don't waste it. And if there's not intense work, complete and dedicated work, solely to that goal, your conclusions are meaningless. So intense meditation to purify emotions, purify the mind, and make this bhakti stronger and stronger. Eventually, they end up in the same place. But without this intense meditation, mind is too corrupt. It's very difficult, very difficult. Thanks for replying. You're welcome. Okay. So that's it for today, probably. So next satsang will be Wednesday, 9:30 in the morning, Brazilian time, UTC -3. Until then, make it real. No excuses, no delays. Make it real for you. Watch.